Namaste and welcome to Teen Sawaal with Dr. Senthil Kumaran. And I'm very happy that after a break of couple of months, we are again coming together for a very important discussion. And in this particular discussion, we are going to spend some time on understanding something which every school leader, every school management, every school teacher is trying to talk upon on a very important area called as HPC. When I was trying to contemplate on this particular topic and I was kind of thinking about this topic, I thought that who could be a better person than Professor Indrani Bhaduri. Ma'am, can we have you? Yes. Namaste, ma'am, and welcome to this particular show of Teen Sawal with Dr. Senthil Kumar. And just to, introduce ma'am, one thing which I can say all of us have been reading about something called as NAS. I think the person who is driving this in the country right now is Professor Indrani Bhaduri. And what I can, when I had the first conversation with her, I spent a lot of time trying to understand that what kind of activities, what kind of thought process has been happening, and the kind of task with coordinating with so many states, boards across the country, and trying to get them together to take up a NAS is not an easy task. Maybe there are always people who will keep talking about NAS me ye, this is missing, that is missing, all that is English according to me. But to make a task of this large scale in the country, I think it is she and her team who is doing wonderful job, ma'am. So first of all, thank you very much. And ma'am, you can switch on your mic. I think your mic is off.
Thank you so much.
Yes. More than anything else, I think this is something which is one avatar. She plays multiple avatars. So one avatar is this. The second avatar is, I think all of us have been talking about new National Education Policy 2020. And when we were trying to talk about new National Education Policy 2020, and we have been also talking about large scale reform in the assessment practices. And if we are trying to move into a competency-based educational experience for every child in the country, there is a lot of work which needs to happen in terms of making sure that people are actually understanding the formative assessments in such a way that people appreciate on a constant basis. One. Second important thing, to make sure that when the competency-based education is happening and this kind of a reform is happening, as you know, thought in the NEA, that we should have something which is called as PARAKH, Performance Assessment Review and Analysis of Knowledge for Holistic Development. So this was an organization which got created exclusively to make sure that we will hear ma'am, but I think it's very important that how to align all the boards. And I'm very happy that recently there was a comparison of different boards and a report has come out which is there on the PARAKH website. And I would invite people to please go and visit that. When we announce this particular program that we are going to have the CEO, because this is again one question which I'll shortly ask you, ma'am. This is very rare that in a government organization, when we try to talk about our institutions, we don't find this word CEO. And when I saw first time that there is a CEO sitting there at the helm of affairs, I think that comes with a lot of freedom to experiment, try with multiple stakeholders for engagement. I think that's something very important. This is one avatar. The second avatar, which is very important, she has played is she has been with NCERT. I think anybody will kind of say the kind of work what NCERT has contributed. I think it's amazing. And she has been working with not ek saal, do saal. She has been working with more than 20 plus years with them. So she's been a professor herself. She has been teaching. She's been doing large scale assessment. And she's also not only working with NAS, but she's also worked with State Educational Achievement Survey. And these surveys basically keep giving a lot of input to the state government, to the central government on the policy perspective, how exactly the whole policy is supposed to be done. Now, when we try to talk about PARAKH, which was established under new education policy, the intent is to do the large scale assessments, school based assessment customization, examination reforms in the country. The intent with the intent of standardizing and improve the assessment practices in India. When we try to talk about MAM has active policy level engagement with a lot of state governments, SCRTs, not only within India and outside. And she has done a lot of research. I'm not going to read the whole profile. I'm just wanting to, kind of control myself and want her to spend more time today rather than me talking. Ma'am, straight away with this brief, quick introduction, what I will do, I will straight away get into the questions because when we try to talk about the HPC Holistic Progress Card, which has been envisioned to do a comprehensive evaluation of every child, not only for the child, but it has to be also in learning for the teacher. Because we always say, whenever I used to write as a teacher, the reflection in my lesson plan, that is one particular part. But when a formal standardized assessment will happen, this will bring in a lot of commonality. This will bring in a lot of standardization. I think that's something very important. So my first question to you would be NEP 2020, PARAKH, HPC. We are talking about 358 assessment. What are some of the objectives and what schools are supposed to do which are affiliated to various boards? And I would like you to look at more from the school perspective because boards, a lot of work is already done by PARAKH and boards, COPSA and others are working. So I will not get into that space because today the participants who have joined not only from India, from Middle East and Africa, I think that's something which is, they need to kind of look at it and take learning so that as a school, mujhe kya karna hai, what I'm supposed to do as such. So now the stage is all for you to basically help us to understand. And just one point to the participants who have joined on the Facebook Live. My request to you is that please start putting your questions in the comments. We have received around 20-25 questions, which will be taken on priority because they came first. Second, the people who have any questions, please keep posting it on the Facebook chat because Professor was kind enough to say that please share us these questions so that we can convert them into FAQs, which can be helpful for larger community. So you will be not only contributing for this conversation, but you're going to contribute to a larger, national level purpose. So with that particular note, ma'am, welcome once again, and please help us to understand as a school, mujhe kya karna, or what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah. First of all, thank you so much, Senthil Kumaran ji, for giving this opportunity to speak to, a huge gathering, and I'm really surprised at the response because being a Sunday afternoon, still like so many people are interested, and it's amazing. That means that in India we are really moving towards something that will be really fruitful. So to begin with, I will not jump into the HPC. I would like to tell something about the background and then how we evolved the HPC and how the teachers are going to, use the HPC. So like we all know that the National Education Policy 2020, which we have, the government of India has come out with, is indeed futuristic and it is transformative. It is going to transform the landscape of the educational scenario in India. So to begin with, NEP 2020 has, some focus area. The first thing is that it has changed the system from being a 10+2 to 5+3+3+4. So 5 is the foundational, like we all know, it is Balvatika 1, Balvatika 2, Balvatika 3, and grade 1 and 2. Then we have the preparatory stage, that is 3, 4, and 5. Then we have the middle stage, that is 6, 7, 8, and the secondary, which is 9, 10, 11, 12. So this is one major transformation that NEP 2020 talks about. The second is that it talks about lot of focus is given to foundational learning. That is the first 5 years that we are talking about, the foundational stage. Because we all know that if our base is strong, then we can build upon it. So for a stronger base, to have, more inputs into it, there is a lot of talk about how the foundational stage can be strengthened. And for this, we have the Nipun Bharat mission. I'm not going into the details of all that because the focus for today's is the assessment. NEP talks a lot about changing the assessment and bringing in a paradigm shift in assessment. The first thing that it talks about is that it wants to make the shift from rote memorization to competency-based assessment. So what are these competency-based assessment and how do we go about doing it? For bringing changes in the assessment, NEP has also mandated the establishment of PARAKH. Like you also said that, and PARAKH has been established. It was established in the month of February in 2023. And at PARAKH, we are just working on the learning assessment. When I talk about learning assessment, I like to categorize it into three main, categories. The first is the large-scale assessment, like you said, the NAS. So all these large-scale assessment that we have, maybe at the international level, people must have heard about the PISA taking place. We have the TIMSS, we have the PEARLS. Then at the national level, we have been doing this National Achievement Survey. And this National Achievement Survey we have been doing since 2001, but we made a major shift in this conduct of the National Achievement Survey in 2017. In 2017, what we did is, for the first time, we shifted it into, assessing the learning outcomes. And the second thing that we went was that we shifted from state level reporting and we went more granular, and that is at the district level. And another change that we brought about in 2017 in the National Achievement Survey is that we brought in a lot of technology for the conduct of the survey, for implementing the survey, and also in its reporting. So these were the major changes we got in 2017 for the conduct of the NAS. And then the NAS, we repeated the same NAS in 2017. We repeated in 2021 also. But 2021, like we all know, it gives the learning during the pandemic, during the COVID-19, basically. And the next NAS that we will be doing is that we will be conducting in this year in the month of November, that is in November 2024.
So after 21, the 24 is happening right now.
No, 2021 also, after 2021, 2024 is happening. NAS happens every 3 years.
Just as a teacher, ma'am, I have a small request. Before the assessment is done, I have a small question. Do you think will we have a very good results coming in 2024?
I would not like to speak
because as a teacher, there's always an interest to know.
Yes. What I would, I will not base my answer on assumption, but on evidence.
Sure.
You know that we did a SEAS, that is the State Educational Achievement Survey, in 2023 November. And when I did the SEAS, that is, how many students are assessed in PISA? around 6,000 students per country. And you know how many we are doing in India? In India, in NAS, in 2021, we assessed 37 lakh students. That is 3.7 million. You know, nobody matches us. And when we did the state educational achievement survey last year, November 2023, we assessed 85 lakh students. That is 8.5 million students, because we had gone more granular, like we had gone at the block level. And like, you know, that if the more granularity we go into, the more deeper we go into, the sample size increases. So it was 85 to have a representative sample. It was 85 lakhs or 8.5 million. And this kind of scale is there nowhere. So what we saw in the Cs is that, yes, there has been an improvement in the learning levels. So, of course, when we conduct in NAS 2024, of course, the evidence will tell finally that whether there has been an improvement. But basing my, hypothesis on C's 2023 results, we do expect that the learning levels would have increased in 2024. From 2017 to 2021, there has been a dip, and we all know the reasons. That was because of the pandemic. And it is not just in the, in India that there was a dip in the learning levels, but it has, this globally effect was seen all over the world. Like when they did the NAEP, or when they did in Australia, they did the achievement survey, everywhere the dip was seen. So, like I was saying, that PARAKH is works in the field of learning assessment. NAS is a system level assessment, wherein I am assessing the system, be it at the national level, be it at the state level, district level, or block level. Here, I am not interested in the unique child assessment. I'm not assessing individual child. I'm taking a sample, and I am trying to understand how the system is performed.
School system.
The education system at large, not just the school system. I am also sampling the schools, right? And I'm seeing how the district is performing, how the state is performing, and how the nation is performing. When I'm conducting Cs, I see how the blocks are performing. So these are the system level reflection, not the reflection of the individual child or the individual teacher or the individual school, right? Now, when I shift from this one category to the next category, that is the examinations or the certifications. In India, we have the majority of the boards, they do a certification at 2 stages. That is in grade 10 and grade 12. Right. Now, this certification also is different from NAS and is different from the school-based assessment or the teacher-based assessment that I'll talk later. In this certification, for the entire year, that is, let's say, 210 days, the teacher is transacting, right? And there is, some content that has been assigned as per the syllabus. Now, of all the entire content, I sample the content that I feel as an examiner, as a board examiner, I feel that this is what will help me to certify whether the child should pass or he should be retained in the previous class. That is, I need to give him a certificate or I do not give him a certificate. That is in grade 10 and grade 12.
Right.
right? This is being done by an examination body, a body that is outside the school.
Correct.
Okay, so here what is being sampled? Here I am not sampling the students, all the students are appearing, but I'm sampling the content.
Correct.
The content that has been transacted in the school. So we saw what was the large scale assessment, NAS, which was a system level reflection, wherein I was sampling the content and I was sampling the student, both. In the certification, I was not sampling the student, but I was sampling the content because I have a restriction, and that restriction of time. It is, I have to kind of limit it in those 3 hours. The third thing, the third learning assessment that is the focus for today's discussion is the assessment that is being done by the teachers in the school. Okay, and that we say that they are the school-based assessment or the teacher-based assessment, and we are saying that for this, make use of the holistic progress card. So holistic progress card basically is a formative assessment, and the holistic progress card helps the teacher to reflect that whether the pedagogy that I'm following in my class is really helpful or is helping the child to master the competencies. It helps the child to understand whether I am doing it all right, or what is it that the changes I need to bring in my learning process, my learning processes. So it's a reflection for the teacher, it's a reflection for the student as well. In holistic progress card, we have the teacher assessment, we have the self-assessment by the child, we have the peer assessment, and we have the parent assessment as well. Parent meaning that the caregiver, whoever is the guardian, who gives, who has to make a, who is helping the child in making informed decision. So it is again, NEP 2020 talks about, like I said, it talks about competency-based assessment. So holistic progress card is totally based on competency-based assessment. As you know, that the National Curricular Framework for Foundation Stage, that is NCFS, and the National Curricular Framework for the secondary education has identified what are the competencies required. It has identified these stage-specific competencies. Now, what we have done is...
Just one question here, because this is one question which keeps school teachers and principals keep asking me. Is there something called as a competency framework which is available in the public domain?
It is. We have given that in the holistic progress card, how to fill up the holistic progress card. In that document, we have given. And this is the state-specific competency framework that we have used, because the holistic progress card is also stage-specific. We have a holistic progress card for the foundation stage. We have a holistic progress card for the preparatory stage. We have one from the middle and another for the secondary. Okay, so like I was saying, that the holistic progress card is competency based. It talks about peer assessment, self-assessment, teacher assessment, and parent/community assessment by the community. Then it also talks about what not just the cognitive assessing only the cognitive domains, but also the other domains as well, like you know that NCFSC and NCFFS talks about art education, it talks about sports education, it talks about skill education. So NEP 20 holistic progress card has all these in the progress. So we are not just into looking at the core subjects like mathematics, science, social sciences, and languages, but also about art and theater. It's all about sports, and it's also about the skill education. Skilling is a very, very important part in the entire school education as per NEP 2020, and which we have reflected in our holistic progress card. And if you see that, in the holistic progress card, I don't know if I have been given the access. Should I?
You can share, ma'am. Just give me a minute. I think
Yeah.
I'll also put the what you call 1 minute. I'll make you the just give me. Are you able to share now? Just check.
Let me just check. Just give me some time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am. So can you see the screen?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, go ahead. Please go ahead.
So this is the, PARAKH's holistic progress card at the foundation stage. And if you see that, we begin with asking the part A1 is the general information about the child. And because we are trying to digitize this card as well, it will be totally digitized. So we are planning to link it with the APAR ID of the child. So herein we are, so this holistic progress card at the foundation stage applies for the Balvatika 1, Balvatika 2, 3, grade 1, and grade 2. So whichever class I'm filling in, I take in here as a teacher. So this is the general information. An important, point in this general information is the attendance. So I, as a teacher, come to know when my students are absent or which particular child is not coming to the class and in which season. So is it during the harvest season that my child is not coming, or is it during the sowing season that the child is not coming? So all this information helps me to kind of, modify my transactions in the school. The interest that the child has, then because this is foundation, it talks about me and my surroundings. This is I want to be, so we have incorporated the careers in a very subtle manner in the
Which is very
during the
important.
foundation and during the preparatory, but we go into deeper. And if you see that, we have also included my favorite. So, some thought about the interest that the child takes. Then when it comes to part B, we have all the domains that are listed in the, National
NCERT.
Curricular Framework for
FLL.
Foundation Study. And there are different goals. So when I digitize this, the goals will come in a drop-down menu. And corresponding to the goals, the competencies will also be seen. And these competencies we have listed in our how to fill up the foundational card also. So given choosing a goal, I just select one competency. Based on the competency, now we know that the textbooks are also available for grade 3 and grade 6. So, I can take the activity from the textbook itself. I just need to mention the page number, that's it. Otherwise, as a teacher, I can prepare my own activity also. The exemplar activities are given again in the how to fill up document. And based on the activity, we have the assessment questions. And then on the questions, we have the assessment rubrics. So this is the entire assessment framework that we have given in the HPC. That is, we have the curricular goal. From the curricular goal, identify the competencies you would like to assess.
Correct.
Given the competencies, frame an activity, use the
And assess
activity
that.
to assess this, prepare the questions to assess those competencies, and then prepare a rubric based on that competency, where the child is in terms of awareness, sensitivity, and creativity, whether the child is at the stream, that is the basic level, or at the mountain, that is at the proficient mountain, you may say it's the grade appropriate level, or at the sky level, meaning it is advanced level. So this is the framework of assessment which we have, suggested in the holistic progress card.
Indrani ma'am, just 1 minute. I think it was very interesting to see when if you can go back just to the earlier and you say the stream, sky, and mountain.
Mountain.
I think I
stream,
love this
mountain,
because for the FLN stage, for categorizing students in beginner, proficient, I think becomes a big challenge. And it should not hurt the child. So I think that's very important, which is supposed to be done. So you are given these names basically keeping the FLN segment in mind.
Yes, and moreover, it's all aspirational. It's not
Okay.
bad for me to be a stream. Even a
Correct.
stream has its importance. So
Correct.
that, yeah, so from mountain, I should not be arrogant saying that I'm a mountain. And no, there is, yeah.
That's why I asked this particular specific question,
Yeah,
because
and
parents.
and it's environmental friendly also. We had lot of deliberations, coming for this, and finally we worked on having stream, mountain, and sky, because there was a, in between there was a suggestion that you should make it a bird, or as some flower, and then, but then if we make it that way, we are saying no, you are less as compared to a fully grown. We don't want to say in stream also you are good. And it's not necessarily that in all the three abilities the child will be in stream. Maybe in the awareness the child is in stream, but maybe the sensitivity part he is good, or maybe
One question here. When you're talking about the assessment rubric, is this assessment rubric available already in the how to do the assessment or how to measure the competency?
We have given an exemplar.
The assessment exemplar. Now people may have to create themselves.
Exactly. So, the challenge is that at present, the teachers are finding it difficult to create on their own. Now, when we do a 5 days workshop, it becomes very easy for the teachers to do it. At the end of the workshop, they are able to understand, they are able to do it. But then, for PARAKH to reach those many, it is
Herculean task, and the scale what we are at India.
It is,
I think it's not
like we have. I need to be very realistic that it is difficult. I'll not say that it is impossible, but difficult. It will take a long time, and I want this understanding to go immediate. So that is what I'm kind of inviting all my assessment partners to come forward. Let us be together and let us take this at the grassroots level. The only thing is that the narratives has to be same. If I change the narrative, if that will,
purpose is lost.
the purpose is lost, it will create confusion at the grassroots level.
Correct.
So this assessment framework, we have gone into a lot of deliberations with many a people, many a stakeholder, and after that we have come out with it. So use it and let us move forward with it. So, but I'm happy to see that, you know, many of our assessment partners, they are eager to take this forward.
Very good. And I think it is very important as, you know, how exactly these things to be kind of taken up by making sure that people get the right perspective. Otherwise, itna effort, like whatever effort that we have taking it up, I think must be able to take it. Yes, sir, please go ahead.
Yeah. So the next part is the teacher's feedback. So wherein here as a teacher, I write my, you know, some observational note that this person. So it's not that we are telling like CC that, you know, you document everything and every day you document. No. What, as a teacher, we leave it to you. Which is the activity you feel that the child you think has yes, will evidence the performance of the child in the best manner, that you do the documentation. So
No,
this
because
is,
ma'am, one of the challenges I'll tell you, because I'm there at the street, my feet is on the street. So when I work with teachers, it is really difficult, you know, thanks to COVID, that ek haath mein mobile people had and ek haath mein they are doing the activity, trying to capture the anecdotal references. Now, I would really like to understand from you, kids, what kind of anecdotal reference is something that we are looking forward to.
yeah, I think it is like, you know, in this, we have written that, you know, you can record the anecdotal responses also, but, you know, I don't want to kind of give a do's and don't, you know, don't for an, for the, you know, making it very, you know,
Complex.
kind of, no, having a lot of boundary walls to it.
So
What
the
I
creativity of
do,
the teacher will get disturbed too.
yeah, what I do as a teacher will be very different than what you do. It will
Agreed.
definitely depend on the situation. That, you know, if I want to say that, yes, do an anecdote for during the recess time. So, you know, you or the teacher gets very much bound by doing that. So instead, leave it to the teacher. Let her decide when to capture an anecdote, how to capture it. So the process will be explained, but when to do it, how to capture, let that
The
be
freedom is
teach.
for the teacher.
Yeah. So we have the peer activity, self-assessment, and the peer activity as well. And then we have the parents and the guardians, learning, teaching resources at home that are available, and the comments and the remarks. And similarly for the other domains. So we saw for the physical domain, the second domain is the
Social emotional.
socio-emotional domain. And similarly, we have the curricular goals and the competencies. And the third is the cognitive development.
Development.
That this is the domain 3. And then we have the language and literacy domain. That was the domain 4, and the domain 5 is the aesthetic and the cultural development. Yes. And then we have the final 5.1, that is the positive learning habits. So you see, we have covered the, when I'm talking about holistic, it is covering all the domains. It's the assessment, 360-degree assessment as well, by the teacher, by the self, by the peer also. And I'm using a plethora of tools and techniques. I'm not just relying on a paper pencil test. So this was all about the, you know, holistic progress card at the.
And then one question which has come up from Poonam. She says very specifically, she asked a question saying that how many times should this should be done in a year?
Yeah. So the entire, if I'm filling up for grade 1, the entire progress card needs to be filled up only once.
Only
Okay.
one.
Only one,
Oh.
like one domain I fill up, maybe I give a gap, then fill up the other domain. So you have, for filling the entire holistic progress card, you have with yourself the entire 210 days.
Sure.
So, and once this holistic progress card, it goes to the DigiLocker of the child. It goes, it is, it is digitized and, stays there. So when the child progresses from grade 1 to grade 2, because the holistic progress card is the same, you can see the learning, learning journey of the child. That whether in the cognitive domain there is a change, in the physical development there's a change. So this learning, so like I said, the evidence, which evidence to be collected and when to be collected, that is entirely left to the teacher. I, as a teacher, so we are rather empowering the teacher to make a decision, because as a teacher, when I am interacting with the children in my class, I'm their best judge. So the entire decision is with the teacher that, when do you want to kind of assess it.
Yeah, Anush, there are a few questions which I'll quickly take it up because these are all populating and I don't want to miss them in the thing. Ma'am, can you please share the competency-based parameters mentioned in the report card? I think it is there already there in the website, and I'm going to share the link on it, right? That's what is the answer, right?
You can just share the PARAKH. Should I share the PARAKH
website? I'll share that. That should not be. While you're presenting, I don't want your time to be lost on it. There's one question which has come up from Shubhangi More from, I think, one of the schools. How to maintain a comprehensive and effective digital portfolio, which is nothing but continuation of HPC for the holistic progress card, which 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 levels, considering the lack of consistency and different variable used at all levels.
No, the common thread that runs across from foundation to the secondary are the abilities. That is the knowledge, the awareness, the sensitivity, and the creativity. These three abilities are common throughout the entire. So this is the thread that is running. Now, what is happening in foundation? That is because the pedagogy is different in the foundation. It is more toy-based.
Correct.
So we have made one for the foundation, one for the preparatory, the stage, one for the middle, and one for the secondary.
So you are saying that the KAS is something which people may have to follow it across all the grades.
All the grades. Let me take you to the now preparatory.
Sure.
Let me just open the preparatory for you.
Sure, ma'am. I'll also open the PARAKH in the meantime so that people get the idea.
Yeah. Maybe. No, it's not here.
Can I open in the meantime, the website for the people to see, ma'am?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Now, the participants who are seeing, I think you should be able to go to this particular page called as ncert.nic.in, PARAKH hpcphp.in. And you can see it on your screen very, very clearly that it is talking about holistic progress foundation, what ma'am said, preparatory, middle, secondary. And very interestingly, it also says that how exactly you can to fill this. That will be a very, very supportive material which has come in, and how to understand this. I think it has been very clearly been mentioned here.
Yeah, so I think I'm not getting the, let me just see. Oh, you are sharing. That's why I'm not getting.
No, I'm just sharing this whole website for them so that they can. You are able to see on your screen, ma'am?
Yeah, I'm able to. Yeah.
So this is, I just wanted them to show where it is available, because many people have been asking, kahan hai? So I thought, I think it's very important that they should be able to see.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Yeah. So, and I'm also
Yeah.
putting this in the chat box so that people can actually go back and reflect and download and play with it as much required. So,
Yes.
yes, ma'am.
And we
Now you
like
can
this.
share, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay.
Now you can
So
share, ma'am.
the
Sorry.
preparatory, I can just share now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you see the preparatory, so this is the preparatory
Not
holistic.
yet shared, ma'am. You have not yet shared. We are not able to see you on the screen.
Oh, I have shared it.
Now it's shared. Now, yeah. Now it's
Shared?
shared.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this is the preparatory holistic progress card that we have.
Yes.
And if you see that, again, the beginning, it's the general information. This is common again, even for the preparatory. So this is another common thread that goes from foundation to secondary. And
Yeah.
again, we have the number of days and everything. Then we have the part 2. We had there also, something about myself. So here I am going a little in depth. So I improve my skill of I like to, I don't like to, I'm good at. So things about me, we had it in the foundation. We have also have it in the preparatory, but it is something we are going more deeper into. And when I go to the middle and the secondary stage, you'll see that I go much more deeper. And then, how do I feel at school? This is also very, very important. I can talk about how I feel. I can calm myself down during difficult situations. So this I am talking about grade 3, 4, and 5. And
Okay.
all these HPCs will be translated. Don't get worried about the English language, because yeah, it is
Yes.
being translated in 22 different languages.
Very
So
good, ma'am.
rather, we are trying to do it, translate it in all the scheduled languages. So the peer feedback, again, if you have seen the foundation, again, it is something we are delving deeper into the peer feedback. My friends can talk about how she happy, confident. So this is the peer feedback. So there we had just one liner peer feedback. Here we have much elaborate peer feedback. And then the parents also, there we had less. Here we have much more.
More number of things being given. Yeah.
Yes, more number of questions that we are asking the parent. Now there you had seen the domains, domain 1, 2, 3, 4, the physical, the socio-emotional, the language and cognitive. Here art and aesthetics. Here, as per the NCFSC, because it's 3, 4, and 5, we are preparatory. We are looking at NCF SC, that is National Curricular
Good.
Framework for School Education. So instead of domain, it talks about the learning standards.
Standards.
Yeah. So, what are the learning standards and what are the competencies to reach those learning standards? So, again, I have to develop an activity which I need to map to the competencies, have the assessment questions and the rubric. So, again, this thread is common. The assessment framework that we have prepared for all the stages are this. We have the curricular goals, the competencies, the activity, the assessment questions, and the rubric. And in the rubric, you will see that awareness, sensitivity, creativity. This is the common thread that runs throughout all the 4 HPCs. So we have
So
the
now the teachers have to now start remembering one very simple thing when they are going to look at it. ASC is going to be the keyword hereafter. Awareness, sensitivity, and creativity.
Yes, and
Oh,
it kind of covers all your uh, entire thing. So this is as a teacher, what am I supposed to do? As a teacher, I need to understand first what are the competencies that needs to be developed for each of the stages. or for the stage in which I am teaching. So if I'm a preparatory stage teacher, what are the competencies required in the different learning standards? And how do I develop an activity to assess that competency? How do I develop the questions to find out whether the child has achieved the competencies or not? And prepare a rubric to find out whether the child is at the beginner level, at the proficient level, or at the advanced level. So this is now, very interestingly, your AI, generative AI, can do this part so well. We have used the chat GPT latest, and if you give it a prompt, we have rather in-house developed a prompt also for the chat GPT, that if I give that chat GPT that prompt, the chat GPT prepares the activity for me, prepares the questions, prepares the rubrics too, matching to the competencies.
So
Matching back
my
to
worry,
the
my worry is
competencies.
that what the teacher is going to do, इसके बाद पता नहीं मुझे, हाँ?
Mapping to the competencies. And
Yes.
it's like, so many a times when, I go for the workshops, like I find that, after the workshops, the teachers, they understand, they are able to do it. But, when I go and speak to the authorities sometimes in the state, they will say, ma'am, आप क्या बोल रही हैं? ये हमारे teachers कर ही नहीं पाएंगे. ऐसे ठीक है, टीचर्स नहीं कर पाएंगे, आप अपने मास्टर ट्रेनर्स को ले लीजिए, डाइट्स डिस्ट्रिक्ट से लीजिए, स्टेट से लीजिए, यूज generative AI. They will develop your entire question bank to map it to this.
But one challenge which we always been seeing, that whenever we're using generative AI, particularly to develop and connect to Bloom's taxonomy, we have been struggling with that quite a lot, because it is accuracy level is still around 55 to 60%. But how do we try to take it forward is something which you need to help us to understand.
It all depends on the prompt. Like I said, even we were facing the problem, but we had to work on the prompt very well. The way the generative AI will give you the output the way you tell the AI to give. So it all depends on the stimuli that you are giving to the AI. If your stimuli is good, if it is but again, of course, like if as a teacher, without an understanding of the AI, without an understanding of the competencies, if I use it, then it will be a garbage in and garbage out kind of a thing. Okay, so we need to have that monitoring, that whatever is it's coming out, somebody needs to check that yes,
Validate.
it is right. Yes. So that's why that prompt we are not giving, because it's very dangerous. AI not at the right hand is very dangerous, very, very dangerous. So it has to be done with a very strict enforcement. So we are not promoting it at all. Rather, at present, what I am saying is, let the teacher think, let the teacher do. So if the teacher understands, maybe in the second step, what we can do is we can introduce the generative AI. But first, I as a teacher, I need to understand, yes, this is the competency. And this is how I map the activity to the competency. And this is how I frame the questions to understand whether the performance of the child is at the beginner level, proficient level, or at the advanced level. So again, all the, we have the self-reflection and also the peer reflection, and this goes on for all the learning standards. So I stop sharing for the secondary, and now let me go, the preparatory, and now let me share the middle one for you.
Ma'am, can I take few questions? There are a lot of questions which are popping up.
Sure.
Okay, so there are questions. One question has come
Oh
from
gosh. It's going
D.
to be
Prasad.
five, I feel.
We need. I don't know how much time we have, but I think I want their questions to be answered one, and I think we should be able to
No,
do that.
please, you can also share, my website, the PARAKH website, and
I've
in
already
that
shared that on
the
the
contact is also given, the email is given. So I would rather like to, because I'm sure this 1 hour chat, like you also said in the beginning, it's not enough, and
we will do one more episode with you, ma'am, because let people
yeah.
go and do little homework of understanding, reading based on the inputs what you have given. Let them
Yes,
start also going back and working on it. Let's do one
yes,
thing, ma'am. Let's go through the questions quickly.
yes.
One question which has come from Mr. Prasad is, with so much of data collection, understanding the data, action on the same will take a lot of time. How will the teacher will be able to do with so much on the plate?
Actually, there's, like I keep saying, it's not about data collection. We are
Hmm.
just evidencing the learning progress of the child. We are moving from the through the large scale assessment. I'm collecting data. Through the examination, I'm collecting data. The data that I'm collecting through the HPC, it is more qualitative in nature. It is more descriptive in nature. So all this, and like I have shown you, it is not a huge thing. It's hardly 25 to 30 pages that the HPC is. And if you want it to be holistic, if you are capturing all the domains, if you are capturing all the learning standards, I think that's the least that you can do. Only remember what you need to do as a teacher. You need to understand what are the competencies. Have I understood the competencies? Am I able to develop the activity mapping to the competencies? Am I able to develop the questions to understand where the student is with regard to the competency? So that's it. Nothing more. HPC is done.
Sure. I think once the teacher will go back and start looking at it, I think they will get more clarity. But I think it's
Yeah.
very, there is a
Uh,
recognition also coming from Sneha. A lot of work is being done under NEP 2020, needs to reach the grassroots level at the earliest, and being implemented everywhere at the same time effectively. Vibha is saying, nicely framed as per NEC policy, ma'am. Amit Rai Maheshwari saying, but don't you think that 210 days is a long period and there is a change in the learning once I filled the progress report?
we have done the training last year, and we have reached to all the states.
Mhm.
Each and every state we have kind of trained 100 teacher. We reached last year through project Vidyasagar. At the state level we have trained 100 teachers, but then 100 teacher in out of 100 you know um,
1,000.
yeah, it's hardly anything. So this year we are doing the phase two. That is, we are doing the project Vidya Sagar phase two, wherein we are going to the teachers at the district level. So what we say is that it's a kind of a ghost to ghost hookup that we follow. That if Parak trains one teacher, let that teacher go and speak about the HPC
Correct.
to 25 more. So
Correct.
that way we are able to reach a larger audience. And I would request that those of you who have attended today, please give, tell about the HPC, good, bad, whatever. Uh, Talk about it. Let the dialogues be there. And if you have queries, get back to us.
So, and then there's one more question by Sheetal Arora has asked. In Unmukh Balvatika book, there is also a progress card, Balvatika 1, 2, and 3. Kindly guide which one to follow.
Yeah, if you see the CBSE HPC also, it is written that it has been adapted from PARAKH. So PARAKH is the original one. So if people want to adapt it, we don't have any problem. So PARAKH is the original that we have done.
Sure. So that is now the decision which the board and the school can take, right?
That's the board, because education is in the concurrent list. So
Correct.
it's not that we will pressurize that but you adapt. But the competency based assessment needs to be there as per NEP
Yeah,
2020. That's
Gurpreet Kaur is asking a question. Is there any scope of putting marks for subject also? It is based on other parameters only. People still don't want to miss out on the marks, looks like. Okay. And
सारी रामायण खत्म हो गई सितवा के करबाब.
correct.
I
Okay.
guess we have to change mindsets. It will take time to change the mindsets. We have certain way of thought when it comes to assessment. NEP 2020 talks a lot about formative assessment. It talks about empowering the teacher. It talks about competency-based assessment. And it is only by implementing NEP 2020 that we can make our generation next future ready. We can make them available for the world that is waiting.
And there's a question, very interesting question coming from one of the librarian. We know Rakte from Reliance Foundation School, Navi Mumbai. As a librarian, I work with the teachers to find resources that support the student learning. How can the data from the HPC help the teachers identify specific resources that would benefit the individual students? And the second question we ask, many teachers in our school struggle with finding time for self-reflection. Can you share some tips on how the HPC can be used in a way that both is informative and time efficient for the teachers?
Yeah, so if you go through the secondary HPC, we have talked about time management also and how the self-reflection needs to be done by the teacher. When it comes to the a self-reflection of the teacher, there are many ways and means of doing it. PARAKH is also working on an assessment tool for the teachers as well, for teacher assessment. How do we assess the teachers? So that also PARAKH is working on, and we are planning to make it kind of a self-assessment tool that will be totally reflective, that will help the teacher to understand a lot of things where he or she is going wrong, and that can be kind of worked out.
Sure. And there's a gentleman by name Willie Gio. He says that connection with the DigiLocker is a phenomenon of powerful. So are we going to put all the HPCs into DigiLocker, ma'am?
Yes, right. Right now, that grade 10th and grade 12 certificates are available for most of the boards in DigiLocker. So similarly, similarly for the HPCs also, either we will link it with the VSK, with that
Vidya
is the
Samiksha
Samiksha
Kendra.
Kendra, or we will ask it to be uploaded with the DigiLockers. So if you have seen that I have written the APAR ID, so everything will link with the APAR ID.
Okay. And
I think we can stop out here with
yeah, I have just one. I think that somebody said that
maybe the last question. Yeah.
Yeah, that will be the last question, and I think it's on a Sunday, so I don't want to take. But one thing which I would like to hear from you is that how do we try to make this as a constant effort to reach people? And I think at any particular time, if you need any support from TLC, from me personally, to work together and make sure that we should have regular conversations in shorter duration, which people can come back and try to understand this in much more better ways, so that the larger vision, what we are trying to talk about, Viksit Bharat, actually kind of comes in. One, I think there's a question which Nandini has said that the HPC for foundational stage with curriculum goals and LO are already mapped. We have started adopting through EduType platform. So there, I think somebody is talking about EduType.
Wow, that's wonderful. That's wonderful to hear.
Yes, and one more. Sorry, ma'am. There are so many questions, and I don't want to.
Maybe,
I
yeah,
will try to send this. I will send all these questions. I'll take some effort to put it together.
that will be
I think,
great. That will
it
be
will kind
great.
of, make life much more easier for all of us.
Yeah.
One larger statement as the CEO of the PARAKH, I have this question to you. Uh, what is the role of stakeholders of school education in realizing NEP 2020 with this major transformation which we are trying to talk about, right from Soch? You're talking about the mindset. From the mindset, how are you going to take it across to make sure that we become Viksit Bharat by 2047?
Yeah, if I see that if NEP 2020 is realized, if the implementation happens, we start because we have already started implementing it in chunks. Now, if that motion continues, then we will be definitely kind of empowering not just our teachers but our entire education community, the stakeholders. We will be helping them to change because attitude change is the most difficult to achieve. But
Correct.
once that is done, you have won the war. So I think like we are able to change the attitude many, and with the equivalence board, like you have seen that Padak is very transparent. Whatever we have done, it's out there in the public domain, and we are ready to listen to people. If there are, and till now I am so surprised to see that people, if the equivalence report, if you read it we are talking about a huge shift. It's rather a paradigm shift in the board examinations that we are talking about. And I have received such positive feedback throughout and from all the stakeholders. LinkedIn is a very open and a huge platform. And if I'm getting such a huge, positive feedback from,
Feedback.
I'm sure. But what I'm interested is that, maybe these digital platforms, they are good, they are very nice, but even face to face conversations we need to have. So what I would suggest is that if all our these dialogues needs to be initiated, and these dialogues needs to be initiated at different levels, at the block level, at the district level, at the state level, and at the national level. If the different stakeholders can initiate these dialogues in assessment reform, in HPC, in equivalence of votes, in NEP 2020 at large, how we can implement it in a much better manner. So if these dialogues are initiated and by the stakeholder, that would be really wonderful. And public-private partnership, that's also very important.
Sure, ma'am. So, Professor, thank you very much on a Sunday to take time off to talk on such a important topic. As I said, it needs to start from Soch. That people need to start Soch badlenge, to automatically, I think the whole assessment process also will change. But I can appreciate all the effort taken by you and your team, because I
Thank you
think
so
there's a
much.
lot of people who are working, who don't even get chance to. We don't even get to see, except we read their name in the Parak, HPC somewhere on one of the pages, but we don't. So please communicate our wishes to all those people who are relentlessly working towards making this large-scale transformation in the country. We appreciate your work on behalf of the people who have joined here and who will be seeing. And we would love to have this conversation once again in little more detail on, as you rightly said, we will try to find out. I will become one of the ambassadors for your work across with
Thank you
across
so
the
much. Thank
across the Sahodayas, across the ASIC's, ICSE boards, affiliated school forums, where I think they can reach out to you, or if we can be of some support to you, or to take offload certain load from you, so that we can collaborate together and make a difference. I think make a difference to the child who has been kind of taken it up. Because it was very, what I personally believe, I think if we follow this particular process, There are a lot of questions on 9, 10, 11, 12 report cards, which will touch people little later, not today. But I think it's very important that you took time off on a Sunday, to spend some time with all of us. And we appreciate and recognize. Namaste, and thank you very much to all
Thank you.
the participants. Yeah. A last comment from your side, ma'am.
No,
How was your Sunday?
I just wanted to say that yes, धुन बदल के तो देखो, and Jai Bharat.
Thank you very much, man. Thanks to all the participants. I know that there are questions. I'm going to take up all those questions, and we'll be sharing with the professor, and be happy that you're contributing to the FAQs, which the NCERT PARAKH team is actually working towards. We will come back again with little more details, and we will try to find out which are those technology companies and platforms which we can bring to you to basically share how the teacher is much more flexible. Teacher is given much more breathing space to deliver education in their respective classes, because that is something which is very important. As a teacher, you and I will surely experience. Namaste, stay safe, and take care. We'll see you in 46th episode again on something related to HPC, because this is one area. For the first time, I've got so much questions and I'm not able to answer in the limited time. So thank you very much. Namaskar.